Yeah, hi. So today I'm down at Kaituna Scenic Reserve, which is about halfway down the Kaituna Valley. It's a small patch of remnant lowland coastal forest. There's a short track that runs around the inside of the park and takes about maybe 15 minutes to walk around inside. And there's some really big specimens of Kahikatea trees, Totora trees, Miro and Matai in here. So what I'm going to do is I'll go for a walk around through the forest and just basically give you a bit of a look at there, and then we can have a look at the little picnic area that's outside the park here. Yeah. So this is inside Kaituna Nature Reserve. You can see there's a path that runs along through. It's just earth covered with leaves from the trees, and then you've got all the different species of trees in here. So Kahikatea, you have broadleaf, there's some Matai trees, some Totora trees in here, yeah, and other species as well. Just heading around the forest. So they don't really need them, but you can see they've got some of the normal Department of Conservation track markers up in here. You don't really need them because the track through the forest is really obvious, but there you go. So you can see that piece of pink tape on the tree there. That marks the route of a predator trap line. So they have like a predator traps all through this forest to get things like rats and stoats and that kind of thing. So most of these trees in here are actually broadleaf trees. I'll look up and see what the scientific name for them is, and I'll just put it up at the top of the screen here somewhere. So about 5 minutes along the track you come to this little clearing, and there's a couple of really massive Kahikatea trees in here. I'll just get a better view of them. So this tree here is a Kahikatea tree. You can tell by it's got this very distinctive bark. It looks like someone's been bashing on it with a hammer. It's got like little indentations in the bark. There's some really big ones in here. This particular one here would be probably 35 to 40 metres high, and it's probably about maybe 3 metres around the trunk. So old, could be up to 600 years old. There's looking up to the top of the Kahikatea tree. That's the other really big Kahikatea tree just at this place. That one's not quite as tall, but that would still be 20 metres tall at least. So there's some more Kahikatea trees there, and I'll just get a bit closer so you can see the bark. So you can see it has this this particular bark, and it looks like there's little indentations taken out of it. Yeah, it's just where flakes of the bark fall off, you know, but that's one of the ways that you can tell a Kahikatea tree from other species. So you're just looking out to the edge of the reserve over there. The edge of the reserve is about maybe 50 metres in that direction. Yeah, there's paths that go out to the edge of the reserve. We're going to go up one just up here a wee bit, so I'll show you when we get there. So there's some more Kahikatea trees there. There's also a big Totora tree just in behind that one. So there's just a wee side track here that takes you to the edge of the Kaituna stream, which is just through the trees over here. So we'll just go and have a look in there. Kaituna stream comes down the valley from up at the head of the Kaituna Valley. It comes all the way down here, and then it goes around the outside of this reserve on its way out to Lake Ellesmere. The water in here, you couldn't like swim in here. There's like farms up the valley, so the water is going to be contaminated. But I would imagine like back, you know, when Europeans first arrived in the area, this would have been like a really good water source, because it would have been clean back then before there were a whole lot of stock. That's looking up at the surrounding hills. So that's your first view of the Kaituna stream that runs around the outside of this reserve. So the track just continues around the northern edge of the reserve. That's the northern edge of the reserve. It's got farmland all around it. That plant there with all the wee hairy spikes on it is onga onga. Banks Peninsula is one of the places in New Zealand where onga onga is endemic. There's a lot of it in this little reserve. You have to be a wee bit careful. If you rub up against it, it's got a neurotoxin in it. It'll like make your skin go numb. It is actually deadly. Animals have died before when they've fallen into it. Depends how many times you get stung by the wee stinging hairs. There's only one case of a human dying from falling into it, but the guy up in the North Island completely fell into a big bush of it, and he had like thousands of stings. So yeah, just be careful of it, because it's really incredibly painful. I've rubbed up against it before and it really hurts. That's the southern edge of the reserve, looking down the Kaituna Valley. So we're just heading along the southern side of the reserve. There's a track around the outside of the reserve. The fallen trunk of a really massive Totora tree that used to be in here. When I was a kid, like when I was about 10 or 11 years old, we used to come over here sometimes. That tree was actually standing, so it fell down, it got wind blown over, probably back maybe in the 80s sometime. That's another big Kahikatea tree on the southern side of the reserve. They're the predominant large tree species in this forest. They can live up to 700 to 800 years, so those trees could be anywhere from 400 to 600 years old. So when Europeans first came to New Zealand, they actually thought Kahikatea trees were a type of pine tree, primarily because of the leaves that they drop. So you can see the forest floor scatter there. They almost look like pine needles. Yeah, those are all off those Kahikatea trees around here. There's a big Kahikatea tree here that has started leaning in the wind. The root system on them are not very good because they're actually like a swamp tree. This one here has been leaning over since forever, since I've been coming here. There's a predator trap just over by that tree over there. That's a Doc 2000. That's the standard kind of pest control trap that the Department of Conservation and conservation groups use in New Zealand. Pardon me. Good for rats, stoats, hedgehogs, mice. Yeah, really effective, those ones. That's looking into the centre of the reserve. This kind of forest with these broadleaf, they're always really open underneath the top story. Those broadleaf, they carpet the ground in these slightly alkaline leaves and branches that basically kill off any undergrowth. And also the Department of Conservation and the private trusts that look after this reserve, they do also clear out some of this undergrowth from time to time. There's a border of cabbage trees around the outside of this reserve, another of the typical native plants that would grow in this kind of area. So we're nearly at the end of the track. The end of the track is just about 20 metres off this way here. There's a wee clearing I want to show you as well, so we'll just go and have a look over there. There's just a wee clearing over here that I wanted to show you, so we'll head that way. So there's a big clearing in the middle of the forest reserve. As you would find in this kind of forest, you would find clearings. And so it's got a border of karaka trees going all the way around. And then just in behind us here, there's like a whole lot of big Kahikatea trees. You can see the top of them. Yeah. So that's looking at the other side of that clearing. And then there's a path over the far side over there, just here, that goes back into the forest, and a wee side track that takes you back out to that entranceway. And then you can just see how the Kahikatea trees stick up over the rest of the forest canopy. And so there's a indistinct trail that takes you back over towards the first part of the track that you're following. You can see just off to the left over here a really big Kahikatea tree. And so that's basically the track, so we're just going to head out into the picnic area, which is behind where the camera is now. So that's the clearing heading out to the picnic area at Kaituna Reserve. Yeah, so that's the end of the track around the Kaituna Forest Reserve. It's a nice wee track around that forest actually. Takes you like maybe 10-15 minutes walking around, and then afterwards you can have a picnic here in the wee picnic area, which I'll just show you now. At the start of the Kaituna Reserve track, there's actually a wee picnic area. It's quite a nice area, and so it's just a big open area. There's a couple of picnic tables, so you've got two there. The entrance is just right there. The gate's locked at the moment for some reason. I think it's because the grass is really wet. There's a toilet you can use. And then the entrance onto the track that we've just walked is over there behind that tree. No camping allowed here, and there isn't any water, but it's a really nice picnic spot. We used to come here when we were kids and have picnics and run around in the bush, and I brought my kids here a couple of times when they were younger. Definitely worth a visit. Then you can just see the hills that line Kaituna Valley on each side. Yeah. So there's a wee bit of a different view of the picnic area from over by the picnic tables. So that's where the exit is, where you come off the track, and then swinging around, entrance to the track. That's the toilet there, and then you can just see the two picnic tables here. So that's the end of my filming time here. I'm just going to jump in the car and head for home. Normally you can drive into this reserve. I think they have it closed because the grass is really wet. Don't know, but normally it's open all the time. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.